Hello and welcome. Hashtag crypto trading. And it is the 25th of November 2017. My name is Derek. Everything you do within your own risk and your own reward. Looking at Litecoin, which has just moved north of the 0.01 handle in its cross against Bitcoin, which has reduced the ratio below the 100 number. This resistance on the 5-minute time frame roughly hit 3 times, exactly hit 3 times as that of resistance, and then it broke through and, well, notice this little move back in here, support, back to the band, back, well, close to where it came from, but there's a situation in here as we can see that this low is a little bit higher than here, but bottom line is after the first push higher, market comes back, now another leg moving towards the upside. We'll look at this on multiple different time frames. 60-minute, there's that break of resistance. Nice green candle move higher so far. It's been in this nice uptrend. And we can see right now that this is looking pretty good as far as some other time frames. The daily, well, we had this downtrend back in here. Lower highs, lower lows, markets going lower, lower, lower. Yet on about the middle of November, on the 12th, it looks like the 11th or 12th, the 12th, it comes up to this resistance point, back to this band where it's been several days correcting around the 0.08 change mark. And now a few days moving higher, looking to break out above this. It's not far from being at the stage in which it should do such, and it looks as if it's going to continue to move higher and test some of these previous levels. Take a look at this on a 3-day time frame. The market in this is correcting within its downtrend. It still needs to establish a level of resistance because stage 1 is band flattening out. Well, it's done that. So it has to make a rally. You'd expect that level of resistance to come maybe in this area around here. 125 to about 115 to 125 area. But overall within this market, this level of support around the 10 even number where it is at now is pretty significant level area. And when it made this downward move, it's either stating it's going to have that of another leg lower in such because it breaks down below the support, and then what you usually get is a move back to where it came from within the 18 average almost every time, and then it goes lower. But within such, after this move in here, which comes to the 18 average of highs, we can see it comes back down the lows, and it does look as if it's ready to be breaking higher. And I'll be looking at this as a failed breakdown. And oftentimes from a situation like this, failed move, fast move in the opposite direction, which would mean a move at least to this previous high as the placement to where the fast move target I would put in. And that's around the 17 to 20 handle. And then the fast move you would expect to happen in a short period of time. But it's got to hold, stay above this area where it's at now. If it could do such for a week or two, then this thing is most certainly going to look to be poised to make a move up to this previous high at least as it heads on into the future. Weekly time frame, this would show more towards the situation of the failed move, fast move, because after establishing the support, breaking down below in here, it's now resisting, look, as within this area in here. And if you see a fast move to the 18 average of highs, which is right now at around the 120 change, 123, 122 mark, that would really show more and more for that to be the case. Because if this is going to be a real sell-off, okay, you break down support, that's normal. Come back to where you came from within the band, okay. So you have this red candle down afterwards, but where's the follow through? In a bear situation, you would definitely not expect markets to go much higher. You would expect a low at least close to this point in here, but that's not happening. So it really, to me, does look like this is setting up a possibility of that failed move, fast move. And in a situation where it's to break pass through this area, it could have an interesting gain. If you figure just 0.10, a ratio of 10 to 1, surprise you? That wouldn't, I could see how that would be possible. And of course I'm holding it. It's actually, it's my, outside of Bitcoin, it's my second highest holding. So I obviously want that to be the case, but it does seem as if it is poised to do such, and that's exactly the reason why I would have a decent amount of Litecoin in relevance to, of course, the other coins. One of them being the Ethereum, which, well, 18 average in here on the weekly chart. It's resisting this band as of now, but after this green candle comes down to a red candle, in a bear situation, you would think that you would make a high this period no higher than this. Well, it's breaking that. You would probably at least go and test this low in here, but that's not occurring either. On the daily chart for the Ethereum, it's already broken clearly past this level. And when you see a situation like this and you were a little late in the punch because you want to be fast, you're seeing this downtrend. Okay, market moves up here, establishing, okay, back to the band. That's what I want to see. And if you're looking to go long on a clear break, it would have meant buying near this high. And well, technically it's now back to the upper end of the support level. It could even come back on a bullish level with not much of a surprise to maybe meet up within this 18 average as it's newly rising. The previous resistance on this day worked out to a high of 0.0489. So somewhere in that area could be a place where it could come back towards. But Ethereum, if it's, you could make this a case of like a double bottom pattern, which is like two U shapes in here. And just on the case of it, the distance, you can almost do a matching difference. So, and where did it come from big? If, to me, on any breakout, and it seems as if it's coming, I would expect this little area of support to maybe encounter a little bit of resistance. So if I were to make a parlay guess, the guess would be that this is a successful bullish situation. It's going to bottom now and maybe come back down towards here short term, which is whatever. Have a bullish move somewhere within this area here around this 0.071, some ballpark figure, maybe even up to the 0.8 area. And then come back and find some support at whatever resistance we're establishing, and it looks like it's in the range of 0.054 up to 0.06. So a move up here, come back down, and then most likely after that you come back again to this level, take it out, and then start challenging some of these upper resistance levels. And whenever you're in a situation where you expect something to happen and it doesn't, then watch out. And here's two things you expect to happen. One, you expect there to be a level of resistance in here. If there's not, then there's a good chance it's just going to keep surging higher and higher, and thus test these upward levels, upwards to even this previous high. Whenever a setup looks really good and it's live and it's great time, which is now, and it doesn't transpire, ooh, baby, that could be interesting, because as I'm looking at this chart, the situation for having a good price entry point is pretty phenomenal right now. As I was stating, if you're looking for a clear break, you'd be buying roughly near this top. And if you're a little late to the party, you see it now, oh, I'll get a little cheaper than back then. So it does seem to me as if it's in a good buying window at this time. If that's not the case, however, then you could expect this to be a decent sized failed move and a significant leg lower. I don't think that's going to happen. I really do think that this is a decent time to enter in towards this position, because I think that This 18 average, as we see it starting to roll higher, will be a good support area. It will succeed on its test, and thus it wouldn't surprise me if there's a play at least that makes it within this upwards level of resistance. Let's take a look at Dash next. And when these markets go, I mean, they just go. This is a situation where this thing was falling down late September, and it bottoms in early November. So the entire month of October plus another week, over 5 weeks going lower, and then about a week or so going from here to here. When the markets have these moves, they can have some pretty spectacular size plays. And after this huge move higher, some significant red candles down to correct those gains, but obviously this level that it first went to held. Nice green candle higher on the 20th. And then just hugging, holding this 18 average of highs for quite some time. But what do we see for today's session? Oh, it's leaving the 18 average of highs. This is a bullish setup situation. Another spot where if you're asking, oh, the buy, sell, and hold. Buy. You don't sell here. Buy. Of course, if you're holding, if you have some. Well, the reason why you say buy is if you own some, would you buy more? I suppose so. But obviously, if you're already in your position because you bought earlier, you expect it to go up, well, then you're in good shape right now. So where does this have the expectations to go? Because this level of resistance has pretty much been tested. If anything, maybe another progressive move higher in this bull market is finding a way to support this level of support back in here, this level of resistance it's had for the last several days, and then has a bit more command and more price action time amongst this previous high. But if it takes that high out, where are we going? Well, that would be really interesting. You had the situation in here where you went sideways for quite some time, starting in the middle of 2014, breaking out early of this year. So it spent the spring and summer in this sideways consolidation pattern. Nice little scare move lower, pretty much a failed move down towards this downside, which could give precedence breaking above this 18 average of highs. You could probably see significant gains, close to 0.25 to 0.33 as some possibilities. When it broke this level of resistance last time, it did so from 0.02 to 0.12, so it did about a 6x gain. So there's definitely some large potential that can come into play as far as Monero is concerned. Let's take a look at how this looks against Bitcoin on its cross and on its daily time frame or weekly time frame. It's still just congesting within this area, nothing too exciting. I guess that it's holding this gain. When you look at this on a candle by candle basis, we have a big green candle up like this. It's important for it to be the holding variety. So you have this little red move down, that's fine, but it has to hold these key areas and it's lifting off from this point. So there is a little bit of a positive expectation. We look at this on the weekly chart. Within the daily chart, there's a situation where the resistance level established in here, coming back to the band, is breaking out. Not quite able to get past it yet, but it is holding well amongst this rising 18 average that is very bullish. The big thing is going to be holding this level of previous resistance at about the 0.017 handle, which would also coincide within this rising 18 average of lows as well. So if it goes down a little bit more, I definitely would not be too concerned. But if you see this thing able to break above in this area here, getting well past the 0.022 handle, then you could be pretty sure there's a good chance that it's going to have a fast move and make it up towards probably north of the 0.03 handle from that point on. Let's take a look at a few other ones. Let's say Neo would be the next one, and even Ripple too as well. Neo on the daily time frame, just still congesting within this point in here, you've had this level of resistance established. The band has went sideways. So getting above this, that would be definitely a nice bullish situation. And compared to other coins that have already had some nice rises higher, you could say maybe it's a little cheap. But big risk, big reward, because when we take a look at this on a long-term time frame, there is definitely a reason why this thing can go way up and way down. If this level does not hold, then you'd be looking... I could see this thing falling 60-70% if it happens to fail this sideways correction. But if it passes the sideways correction, and passing is getting up towards the upper range, breaking it, then later breaking this resistance, then you could be talking about 5, 10, 20x gains along the way. So there's a lot of huge reward within a lot of these plays as well. As far as Ripple is concerned, take a look at its cross against Bitcoin. And meanwhile, a lot of these coins that I'm showing, like the Litecoin, and I got some sell orders in here, obviously, which is why I got some lines in here. But it's on the weekly chart, that's not doing too great. It's resisting this level, holding, but don't see anything yet for it to see a spark coming soon. Definitely within cheap prices under the 3,000 mark on the daily term time frame. It's just hanging in there, going sideways. So it's could be cheap to buy, because if it is going to break out higher, then obviously the places where it came from before is always a good time to buy. But if it does break this level of support, we're looking at going down to, most certainly at least down to this level here at 25, and that's best case or highest case scenario on a break to the downside. If there's a decent break, then I suppose you'd be talking about coming back down to this particular area, which is around 1500 satoshi. You look at the risk reward possibilities. Obviously, with a lot of these, your risk is pretty much close to all of it, or a large proportion. But the most you can lose is basically 100%. The most you can gain is greater than 100%. So therefore, you can make a move up to here, 20,000 from where you are, 22,000. That's about an 8-9x gain. If you're looking to make a play at this and you want to get things cheap for what it's worth, it's sort of cheap, but again, it can go down a lot more. As far as the strategy that I like, this is a situation where if you buy now, it's like, okay, not a bad time. It's better than buying when the thing is pumping. And then you can decide, okay, we'll put some buy orders down, so like where these blue lines are, have your sell orders in place, also where these numbers are as well, and then let the market play from there. As I just had a Litecoin sale, about 1.9% of my Litecoin I sold for Bitcoin earlier, just before this video. I sold it at 0.009999 something. And I'll be looking to buy it back. I got it by order at 75 down here. Then if the next one goes, which is at about right up here, about the 115 number, I'll be looking to put a buy order back at around 95. Rinse and repeat. And again, I sold about 2% of my Litecoin in here, and I'll sell about 2% again. It's now one of my main base currencies in the crypto space. I am enjoying trading Litecoin and other cryptocurrencies together. I think it's a good option to be able to have, or if I want to sell whatever coin against Litecoin or Bitcoin, or which I choose, I think that is amazing. Now, I'm trading it on Cryptopia. I haven't seen that many exchanges that allow it, because on POLONIEX you can trade a Bitcoin, a US dollar tether, Ethereum, and Monero. On BITTREX, you can trade Monero exchange, the Bitcoin, or the Tether. And some other exchanges do allow things like a Litecoin one, and that, to me, is pretty cool. Because I do think there's a good chance that this coin is going to be superior to Bitcoin on the long-term time frame. My hope / prediction, and of course I'm going to go to together, because if I'm going to predict it, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. With Litecoin, is this level of resistance that we can see in here at around 0.17 to about 0.2 will be support in the year 2018. I think that's the best prediction that I'd give for Litecoin, and the thing is going to go up in the multiple hundreds US dollars. And don't be surprised if in time it even goes to 4 digits as well. But I do think there's a good chance that we'll see this thing will just break higher, then come back, find support here, and who knows how high. I wouldn't be surprised again if it goes to 0.10 or 0.075 or some decent number up towards that area. Thank you for tuning in to this evening's video, and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.